Hi TYT, hi YouTube, another edition of TYT Sports WWE Update. Thank you again to everyone who watched our last video, over 60,000 views. That's pretty awesome for a guy shooting this video in his living room. A lot of the comments we got in the last video said, hey man, get a studio for crying out loud. Use some of this YouTube money. Well, spoiler alert, there is no YouTube money that I'm getting. Second of all, hey, this is the best I got for right now, all right? But I hear you, I'm working on it, all right? But so far, this is working out, and I really appreciate all of you guys doing the comments, having some great discussions going on. I think we had some really good talks back and forth, and hopefully we'll do the same thing here. What we're doing in this video, this is the status of the split. How is the WWE doing since the big brand split, since the draft? You've got Raw, you've got SmackDown. How are the programs doing? If you've been watching, you know that they're doing pretty well. First of all, some of the biggest news that we got over the last couple of weeks is Kevin Owens, the internet darling Kevin Owens, is your new Universal Champion. This was a big moment. First of all, it was a fantastic match, a fatal four-way. It was awesome. So what happened is, as you recall, Finn Balor beat Seth Rollins at SummerSlam for the Universal title. First of all, let's talk about the Universal belt. The Universal belt should be deleted. It looks terrible. It looks like a fruit roll-up. It's just awful looking. I don't know who okayed that design. Vince had to have said, yes, I want to go with that. He had to have at least had some kind of input. But I think it's terrible looking. It's just an abomination. I really wish they would do something about that. But something tells me they're not going to, and we're going to get stuck with it and just have to get used to it. So anywho, Finn Balor wins the belt, but he has to relinquish it the next night on Raw because of a severe injury that he suffered. He's going to be out for several months. So Seth Rollins, of course, feels that he should be the one to be given the belt, but instead they have a great, fantastic matchup, and unbelievably, Kevin Owens got the belt. It was Big Cass, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Now, Kevin Owens was my initial pick. I didn't think Big Cass was going to win. It's way too early for him to have a belt around his waist. I didn't think Roman Reigns, he hasn't paid enough penance for his suspension, so I didn't think he was going to get it. And I had this nagging feeling that maybe they'd give it back to Rollins, but I thought, no, you know what? They're gonna do something crazy, and let's give this new belt to the new guy, the one everybody loves. And Kevin Owens is universally loved. Yeah, there's some people out there who don't like him. They don't like his style. They don't like his look. But the man is extremely talented. He made a big impact when he came in against John Cena, and now he's finally got championship gold. Not just Intercontinental gold, not just NXT gold. He is the WWE Universal Champion, and he is going to be phenomenal. You just watch. He's going to be great. So, but how did he win, actually? Well, Triple H, of all people, interfered in the match and actually gave a pedigree to Seth Rollins. A stunned Kevin Owens was in the ring. Triple H said, cover him, cover him. Kevin Owens covers him, and that's it. So, has the Authority found a new lapdog? First of all, is the Authority officially back? This was the first time we had seen Triple H since his defeat at WrestleMania. So it's been several months since Triple H has actually been in ring action. So what does this mean? Is the Authority back? My personal feeling, no. The whole Authority angle was made moot by the draft because Triple H and Stephanie, first of all, they can't be this power couple manipulating the strings of all the wrestlers because each show has their own general managers now. And so what is he going to do? Is he going to come in and completely destroy the relationship between Steph and Mick Foley? I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe there'll be some kind of power struggle here, but I don't think the Authority as we knew them back in WrestleMania and a few years before that, I don't think that's going to exist again. But we'll see. I mean, what do you think? Is the Authority back, or are they gone for good? Tell me what you think. So, is this also going to set up some kind of match for WrestleMania? Remember, this is the time when all of these matches are going to start coming into play. So, here's what I'd love to see. Now that Seth Rollins is out of the good graces of Triple H, is this the possibility for the Shield to come back? I know, Dean Ambrose is on SmackDown, and Rollins and Reigns are on Raw, and they're not exactly on the best of terms. But could they join forces at WrestleMania? WrestleMania is where no holds barred, okay? Everything can happen. And it's got to be bigger and better than it is every year. So is it possible that we could have Team Triple H or Team Authority versus Team Shield? Man, my fingers are crossed for that, because that would be great. Even if it's just for one night, the Shield could get back together and have a match, and people would go nuts because the Shield was extremely popular. It's one of the most popular factions WWE has had in recent years. So I think that'd be a fantastic idea, but we'll see about that. One of the other big items that we had that has come out recently was this fantastic event on Talking Smack. The Miz and Daniel Bryan had an explosive interaction. This is the new pipe bomb. If you guys remember a couple of years ago, the pipe bomb incident was when CM Punk came out and just sat down and seemingly started railing against the company. He talked about Vince McMahon, he talked about all these details of the business, and no one knew what quite to think. And no one said, wait a minute, what's going on? What am I watching? But we were so interested in it because the things he was saying were very true, and everyone kept nodding their heads and saying, how is this allowed to happen? This is live television, and he's out here insulting the company, insulting the owner, he's insulting everyone. He's taking advantage of live TV. And it turned out that the whole thing was a work. But for the longest time, no one knew. So what about this latest incident with The Miz and Daniel Bryan, where it started out on Talking Smack, which is a fantastic show right after SmackDown. Daniel Bryan and The Miz were talking, and Bryan said, and I quote, "You wrestle like a coward." That set The Miz off, and he just started laying into Daniel Bryan. He talked about him leaving the company, saying, "Oh, I'm going to be back in a year," but then instead he announced his retirement from the business. And Bryan tried to counter, "Well, if they would let me come back, I would come back." And Miz told him to go back to bingo halls with his indie friends. And then at that point, Bryan got up and walked off the set. Renee Young tried to interject and stuff, and The Miz shut her down. And for a while, for a few days, a week after, everyone's kind of, okay, what happened there? Was this a shoot or a work? If you're not familiar with these terms, a shoot is basically anything that is unscripted, it's unplanned, it's an accident. Something like when Owen Hart, his tragic death, that was a shoot. That was not supposed to happen. All of this originates from the old carnival terms, since that's what pro wrestling used to be. That's where it got its start. So being a straight shooter, that kind of thing from those old games, that's what a shoot is, as opposed to a work. A work is something that is official, something that's supposed to go, things go the way they're supposed to go because the crowd is being worked by the performers. So was this a shoot or a work? For a while we didn't know. Well, now we know. It was a work. Was it scripted down to the letter? No. But that's what makes these men so talented, is it gives them the freedom to actually go off script a little bit, but go within these lines of where they wanted to take the story. Now, we probably won't see a lot of interaction between The Miz and Daniel Bryan anymore because they're not building up to a match. Daniel Bryan is retired. He cannot wrestle. That's just the way it is. So I don't think they're going to build up to a match at WrestleMania. So you probably won't see them interacting anymore. But it did create some great buzz for the WWE and provided us with some great television. If you haven't seen the clip, look it up on WWE.com or anywhere on YouTube. It's fantastic. The rematch between Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar from the terrible match that they had at SummerSlam that we talked about at length in our last video. The rematch has been scheduled for the 24th of September, and it's going to be basically at a show in Chicago, like just a house show, which, spoiler alert, Randy Orton's still going to lose. He's not going to beat Brock Lesnar at a show that's not a pay-per-view. So it guarantees a Lesnar win. This is the night following Clash of Champions in Indianapolis. So does this still mean that Goldberg is a possibility for WrestleMania 33? Is he going to have any kind of interaction? Again, probably not. If it's not actually at Clash of Champions or on Raw or something like that, I don't see them doing anything major other than just having a full-length match, with the result still being that Brock Lesnar is going to beat Randy Orton, and hopefully we'll be done with this feud. That match was so hastily thrown together in the first place, it just needs to end, and let's move on. Last but not least, let's say goodbye to the Dudley Boys, who have officially moved on from WWE. I thought they got kind of screwed out of their goodbye, but they are now at their Team 3D Academy in Kissimmee, Florida, doing great things. So best of luck to them. And before we go, let's give a final bell toll to Mr. Fuji. Mr. Fuji died on the 28th of August, one of the greatest managers that we had in the business. He managed Demolition. He managed Yokozuna. He was just fantastic. And he's one of the more recognizable characters. He wore the Odd Job outfit with the bowler hat and everything like that. And he represents an era that is long gone, but absolutely a classic, a classy guy, really beloved by a lot of wrestlers, a Hall of Famer. And, it's always sad to hear of somebody like that passing. So hopefully up there he's throwing salt in some angels' eyes or something like that. Anywho, what'd you guys think? This is the status of the split. Do you think it's working? Have you been watching Raw? Have you been watching SmackDown? Tell me what you think. Leave comments below. You know that I answer back. I answer as many comments as I can, and so far I think I'm doing a pretty good job. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Chief Joshiola. We can talk about anything and everything you want WWE related. Hope you have a great Labor Day weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.